time to talk with us today.
Mm.
Um, we really want to welcome you to this podcast. So in our 518 Ambassador podcast, we talk to all kinds of different people. Some of them are international visitors, international leaders, but we also want to talk to our local folks who are doing great things in the community right here in Albany. So we'd love to get to know you a little bit, get to know Keobi. So we have Obi here from the Keobi Restaurant right in Albany. So first, Obi, do you want to tell us just a little bit about yourself and your family, how you came to Albany? What do you like about this area?
I like it. Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Jen. So my name is Obinna Nwagboso, and it's spelled Obinna, short form Obi. And the last name is Nwagboso. I'm from Nigeria. The NW sounds like a letter, so the N is silent. So it's Nwagboso. So if you get it that close, then that's an A plus for you. So
That's great. Yeah, thank you for sharing that because I have the same issue with my last name. My last name is ZH and no
yeah,
one knows how to pronounce that. So it's ZH together is actually like a J sound. So I just
right.
tell them it's like
Oh,
Jennifer and then Zhao.
yeah,
So thank
yeah.
you for sharing. So it's is it Waboso? Is that right?
Yep, that's right. Yep, that's very
Awesome.
true. Very true. So I apologize. We're gonna have a small background noise. I don't know if you hear it, but
No, I think it's
um,
fine. No worries.
okay. Yeah, so I'm married to my wife, Kalechi. We've been together for about 18 years now. We moved from Nigeria. We are from the southeastern part of Nigeria, Abia State to be precise. And Abia is known for production of crude oil, and so many people do agriculture, farming for staple foods like yam, maize, palm oil, and cassava. My wife and I grew up in Nigeria, knowing how to farm and obviously learning how to cook and feed. We have our own individual experiences where I started cooking for my siblings at a very tender age of 8. My wife at that same age already is running the restaurant with her mother back then in Nigeria. Together, both of us, we have 4 kids. The first is Izu. Izu is 9. Izu is 12 years old. The only girl we have in the family is Amara. She's 9, and Aiki is 7, and Ife is 2. Um, so that's my immediate family. We came to America, United States of America, to for greener pastures. um, so to speak, moving from a third world country, you want a better life for yourself and for your family. So we moved into New York City, and soon after the kids started coming, then we came to upstate New York, to Albany, for a better life for the kids. Better school district where we can see them grow without the hustle and bustle of New York City. So here we are.
Wow, that's awesome. It must be just so incredible just without having anything else. Like just having 4 kids and running a restaurant, that's already just
Oh,
like kudos to you because especially with such a big age group, like a big age gap, right? Because you
right.
have the youngest is 2. I can imagine how busy you guys must be.
Yeah, I mean, we the first three were almost close in age. Within the space of 5 years we had three of them, but actually the baby is a Kobe baby. Some joke
Oh.
get together. My wife was pregnant when we had plans for Kobe, and we started working on it before COVID came, and then we put a pause on it for a few months, and then opened in the middle of COVID. So the baby
Wow,
has been working right from pregnancy and is still going to COVID 2 years afterwards. So
that's
yeah, it's an
amazing.
amazing thing. Yeah.
Wow. So Keobi has been open for, is it 2 years now or almost 2 years?
April 8th will be 3 years for us.
3 years. Wow.
Yeah.
How is that? I mean, just it's so incredible. Just like I know opening a restaurant, um, any time must be difficult, but like
Yeah.
doing that during COVID, it seems like a really challenging time to open a new restaurant. How did you navigate that?
It was truly challenging. It was truly challenging. We had this idea of being business owners. We coming to Albany. Um, what precipitated that idea was that we moved from New York City to Albany, and we couldn't find a place to dine in to have African cuisine.
Mm-hmm.
So, being that both of us are, very, very sociable, we like partying, and said a few times that we're able to cook and bring friends over. They like the food, and everybody suggesting, oh, we don't have such a thing in Albany. Why don't you open a business? So we started conceiving that idea, and having that, I have, had management experience in running restaurants in New York City, as well as my wife, all the way back from Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
So we put together a plan, and the plan was to start January 2020, and that was when Mr. COVID decided to show up. So we waited for a few months, and we had everything set. We got the location, had the contract in place, working on the inventory. Everything was in storage, waiting to open. There was no way we could put a stop on it. So okay, you know what? We're gonna have to open. All
Mm-hmm.
the food that we have, we don't know what's going on. The food will get bad. We're still paying for the space. The people have been hired. What do we do? So we decided to
Right.
open and say, well, if it if everything goes okay, then we're in business. If it's not so great, then we close shop and call it a try. So here we are, getting to 3 years, and we're still running.
That's amazing. I just very admire your courage and I'm sure so much hard work went into it. Did you have a lot of support from friends and family in the community as well when you opened?
Yeah, we had a few friends that came in. Remember, it was during COVID, not too many people were going out. You couldn't find people, handymen, contractors to work for you then. Most of the finishing touches we did it ourselves,
Hmm.
mounting the TV, the camera, some of the cleaning, painting, and the kids were terrific then. We'll just take them all, and we'll be there together with the kids, doing one thing or the other from the morning time to late in the evening, and then we all go home. So that's how
Wow,
we navigated that period. So a lot of friends came by, and then the community accepted that idea, and was really rooting for us to be successful. So they came out to help us open. Yeah.
that's wonderful. It must be such a great experience for the kids as well.
It is. It is. And it continue to be an experience for them.
Hmm.
If I may quickly add to that, being that they were there when we started, most recent summer that those more recent summer that passed, they spent some time there, summer days, just to see us work and help out
Hmm.
as much as they can. So they learned quite a few, and we kind of compensated them a little bit that they were able to buy themselves toys for the past Christmas. So it was
Of
a
course.
good idea. Yeah.
Well, they learn the fruits of the labor, right? Of
Yeah.
the hard work pays off. So that's awesome. When I
Yeah.
was young and when I was a teenager, I also worked in a Chinese takeout restaurant. That was
Right.
my first job, and I still remember like getting the paycheck. It's like it's a
Yeah.
good, it's a good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
Wow.
The kids, they really enjoyed it. Yeah.
That's great. So, what kind of reception have you gotten more recently? So, you've been open almost 3 years. is business doing well now? More people coming and doing more dine-in now? Like, do you have folks from all kinds of backgrounds come in, or do you have people who are more used to African food, or do you get people who have never tried African food? Like, do they also come and try?
Yes, because that's a very good question. Before we started, some people told us, there has been a try, it never worked out. Maybe we shouldn't try it. Some people encouraged us. So what we did, having that mindset, was to send out a survey. So quickly send
Mhm.
out, some questions and have different kinds of people answer it, from students, teachers, I walked into offices, drivers, whoever I could send a survey. So we collected this data and everything was pointed towards having an African restaurant. Everybody was the opinion that it would add spice to the capital district. Now, going into the data a little bit, most people wanted it in Albany, and most people would travel as much as 10 miles to have the African food. That was what our data was telling us.
Mhm.
And half of the people that responded were not even Africans.
Mhm.
And they wanted it, they wanted the taste of African cuisine. Most people are developing that appetite now for spicy foods. There are so many Africans that have traveled across the continent and here and never had authentic African food, or maybe they traveled when they were younger and they haven't had that experience in a long time. Most people are more frequent, they would like to have it. Some don't have any idea what it is and they would like to be part of it. So in addition to the non-Africans, then there are, ethnic groups, some white folks who haven't had any experience outside of continental American dishes. So they are very keen on trying the African food. And 2 years in, that data has been proven right because about 60% of our customers are non-Africans. So we have a lot of work to do to get into the community, to penetrate and create awareness about what we offer. So most people come in, they want to have a taste. They want to join in the fufu challenge now that everybody's watching on social media, on TikTok. They want to have a taste of our soups, have that cultural experience. And I think our idea of coming into the business as business owners has shifted now, where we have a responsibility of making sure that we add to that diversity that the restaurants and other ethnic groups offer to the capital district with this variety of cuisine. And so far, so good.
That's really wonderful. I think you're really right, and it's also what International Center wants to do. Is that it sounds like your mission is not only just to have a business or have a restaurant, but it's
Right.
really a place where people can come together and learn about a different culture through the food, so they can have more conversations and get to know each other and understand each other better.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So many people working how ask us questions. Most of our meals are made on order,
Mhm.
so there's a little bit of wait time that they will engage in conversation. How do you make the fufu? How do you make the jollof rice? Some people will come in and say, "Hey, I tried making the fufu. I couldn't just quite get it right. How do I make it? How do I do it?" So,
Well, don't give away
yeah.
your secrets, right?
We'll try as much as possible to get everybody along, advice as much as we can. Some, like the commercial says, it's my grandmother's recipe. I can
Mhm.
yeah, but we try as much as possible to have an avenue where people can come and converse, have a conversation. Most people who are new in town will ask for the nearest African place, and these are Africans in general, where they can go to eat or socialize at night. So far, that's the only place in the capital region that you can really go to have that kind of dialogue and conversation.
That's awesome. That's so exciting. So I want to ask a little bit more about like when you talk about African food, right? Because Africa is a big continent. It's a huge continent.
Yeah,
When we say African food, I know you're from Nigeria, and probably even within Nigeria, there's probably regions where there's
right.
very different food, right? So can you comment a little bit about the food that you serve? Is it like from a specific region in Nigeria, or do you have a mix of different styles or different types from different regions?
Yes, we do have a fusion of African cuisines, but largely we serve West African cuisine dishes. We have few other meals from other regions, like we have the Moroccan salad, we have the cassava leaf that's big in the east. We have peanut butter soup. But mostly it is West African, staple foods like rice, yam, cassava, more the vegetables that we can cook. Spinach, what we call bitter leaf, okra, all of that. So mostly West African, but there is a touch of other regional cuisines as well.
I see. And is
Yeah.
it easy to source the ingredients?
It is tough. Good thing about it is there is importers, wholesalers that do carry these ingredients, and we reach out to them mostly in Hunts Point, New York City. So we order through them and bring it in. Usually make that trip twice a month, some cases once a month, trying to have a lean operation. We have our nearest African store in Central, the breakthrough that helps us, supply when we are short on some of the ingredients. But it is tough because we try to get the authentic, we try
Mm-hmm.
to get um, the real deal, not the ones that they made back home, the ones that we know that for sure will give you the original taste. So no substitutes in that aspect, but we'll try to do.
Yeah, I know it's hard because it's the same thing for a lot of Asian food too. It's like
Yeah.
it's hard when you sometimes the freshness of the ingredients like really matters a lot too, and it's hard when it's been shipped for, many weeks. But we do the best we can, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's the only way we keep the people coming out. 'Cause that's one of our mission to make sure that we have that fresh food always for the customer and
Mhm.
authentic and definitely delicious meals.
Yeah. So do you cook at home too? Like if you're cooking at the restaurant, then do you also still have energy to cook for your family?
Yeah, my wife, who's the chief chef, is
Mm.
it's really amazing. She's I don't know how she does it, but I give credit to every mother out there, woman who runs the home. They make sure that the kids have food. So the yeah, she cooks. She makes sure there's cook. Even if I'm filling in, trying to cook as little as I can, she will still be on the phone. Do this, do that. She's the artist in the house, so you have to get it right. So she does it. If I had half the energy she had, I'll probably be something else. I don't know what, but she's really amazing, I'll tell you that. But yes, yeah, we do cook at home and we introduce the kids gradually into African meals, and they are very receptive, doing okay with it so far.
Yeah, because they're born here, right? So they're
Yes.
probably more used to some of the American food that they grew up with as well.
Yes, all born here, started with all baby foods here,
Yeah.
and then now they're getting to have spicy soups and
Mhm.
yeah, and they just like it. They just eat, and like it's in their DNA, so
That's great.
yeah.
So, what's your favorite meal or what's your favorite dish? Do you have a favorite one you can share with us?
I have been asked that question many times. I don't even know if I have a favorite dish, but um, fufu. Well, we call them swallow in English.
Mm,
Nri onino. When you say that word, nri onino, it's literally meaning swallow food, and for us, it's all the options that you use to eat any kind of African soup. be it okra, vegetable, um, egusi is the melon soup, a most popular soup. So I consider that swallow my favorite food. Now, you're asking me what kind of soup do I prefer most? I'll probably have one or two that I can figure out which one I like better. But I like the Obinna soup and bitter leaf soup. But you can't go wrong with the vegetable soup simply because it's vegetable, a lot of vegetables in it. So either one of these soups, I can have the swallow options of the pounded yam, cassava, maize,
Mhm.
wheat, and to eat that. So my idea of food is that if I have not had my swallow, I have not eaten food. So
Uh, it's kind of like me and like a lot of Chinese people I know is like rice, it's like
yeah,
the staple.
yeah, yep, yeah,
Yeah,
very true.
that's awesome. Well, is there anything else you want to share with us before we go?
We have been successful so far because of how the community have been able to receive us, what we've been able to offer. So apart from Kobe being there for immigrants from African origin, because I know folks at the bus stops, either one, some people come straight from the train station or the airport just to come have food. But we I appreciate the fact that most of our customers are non-Africans who are there to support us, who are there to understand that this is the closest that they can get to another culture is through food. So I like that they have been there, very supportive and being consistent so far. So we are incredibly grateful, and it's our pleasure to keep offering that that extra spice that helps in our food, that we have in our food that help define the capital districts gastronomic culture. I like that word because that's how you can identify yourself in the capital region as a restaurant serving something that people appreciate, and that's one thing I really like about the business that we are running now and offering in capital district. Having said that, we have a lot of opportunity to reach out to many people, and that's even going as far as Clifton Park, um, you know, beyond that, because most people travel from Plattsburgh, Syracuse, Buffalo, Boston, to come to Albany. So we are thinking about ways that we can create even further awareness and to help expand, what we are offering to the capital region. And when the right time comes and we find the right location, we will do that. So now it's gone beyond just business owners, but trying to change the narrative. There's something good that comes out of Africa, and we are ready to show people that. Not just some of the negativity that you come across during conversations, but we can actually point to a good food that people are actually picking interest and getting attraction to. So the International Center of the Capital Region has provided us an opportunity, a platform where we can have a voice and help people who are in need, and in turn get the awareness that we need. And we thank other people like the Lack Street Business Improvement Districts and the Washington Park Farmers Market, who have created these opportunities for us to reach out to folks. So I commend you and thank you very much for the opportunity for this section, and keep it going. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Obinna. Thank you so much for joining us. For the folks who are listening, the Keobi is in our cultural food passport. So definitely pick up a passport. You can find information about that on our website. And we're also planning a dinner event with you in April, right?
That is correct. That
To
is correct.
celebrate your third anniversary. And then we'll have more details coming out about that. But I'm super excited to come and try your food, hopefully before April. But the April event will be really amazing. So if you're listening, definitely stay tuned. Join us on our social media, visit our website, sign up for our mailing list to hear all about all that news. Well, thank you
Yes,
so much.
and you can find Keobi in the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit. We're all over.
Definitely. And we will get those links linked to this video and to the podcast as well. So you can check out the description to put all of that in. And feel free to comment on this video if you heard something that you're interested in or have a question. We welcome all your comments and feedback. Well, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Obinna.